Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Shakur Stevenson, man, he can't let Teofimo Lopez get him upset, cause him to lose focus and get all emotional. Now, you can go out there to Twitter and a lot of people that post it on the internet, but you see this right here? This is Shakur walking over. That's Teofimo right there. And Shakur is really upset because Teofimo said something that, it was just very disrespectful. Now, some people don't worry about what people say, but other people do. You got the ego, you got the pride. Some people, I hear the young people talking about, if someone violate. You gotta let that shit go. You got a great life. It's a fight. You can't be out here losing your cool, especially to someone like Teo, who has been doing a pretty good job of rubbing Shakur Stevenson the wrong way. Now, what he said was kind of crazy, but at the same time, I think it's more Shakur feels like, I think sometimes people, they don't want the perception to be that someone got the upper hand, that they were afraid or intimidated, or cowardly. But that's where you have to have a little bit of a degaff. Don't give a you-know-what. And that's why right now, when you look at Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez, the mind games, the fan narratives, and fight mentality, it's just a lot to digest and a lot to talk about. Now, I'm going to tell you, Shakur Stevenson seems agitated. He seemed pretty agitated for a while now, because I don't understand why people don't give Shakur his credit. Shakur Stevenson deserves more credit than what people give him credit for. He really does. And I'm going to say this. For those of y'all who want the clown behavior, Shakur's not built for that. He's a competitor, not a performer. Teo is more competitor and performer. And when it comes to Shakur Stevenson, he sees boxing as a craft, as discipline, legacy, respect. And Shakur, he talks about losing the gold medal round in the Olympics and how he just doesn't want to lose anymore. And Shakur knows what it is to try to be the consummate professional. Nobody's perfect, but when he's sitting here trying to give respect to Teo, and Teo continues with the constant insults, the mockery, the social media antics, the personal jabs, ego-driven talk, that's gonna get anybody frustrated. I even heard Teo say something about Shakur last couple of years. A couple of years ago, something about he started saying he was Puerto Rican, and I thought that was a low blow. You know what I'm saying? But it's boxing. But I could understand Shakur just being frustrated. Now, for people out there saying he fears Teofimo, y'all gotta stop that. It's not fear. It's not insecurity. It's annoyance. You know what I'm saying? He's annoyed. He's tired. He's tired of the bull crap. He doesn't want to hear that shit anymore. And it's fight week, and for the most part, cats are cranky during fight week. So when it comes to the key points, people need to understand Shakur, from me just on the outside looking in, he seems irritated because, look, he just wants to fight. He doesn't want any BS. He doesn't want a circus. He wants to get in there, show the world that he's that guy, and pick up Teofimo's hardware at 140 pounds. So what it says to me is that Teo's human. Not Teo, Shakur is human. Shakur is human, and Shakur is locked in mentally. He doesn't want distractions. He wants clarity. He wants action. And that tells you a lot about his mentality, man. Calm, methodical, process-driven, craft-focused, and ego control. And I recognize that Shakur has guys like Terrence Crawford, Andre Ward, who are around him all the time. And these guys have a champion's mentality. And Shakur has that as well. He doesn't fight emotionally. He doesn't fight recklessly. Shakur is not a guy to go and chase knockouts. He just does what he had to do round after round to get the win. And one thing about Shakur, Even though some people feel, oh, he's going to come in the ring, too emotional, try to knock out Teo, and Teo's going to catch him. I'll say this, Shakir's not going to abandon strategy. And he's not going to go and enter dangerous grounds trying to out power punch someone like Teofimo Lopez. He's not going to do that. So it just shows me that the emotional discipline is there. He did show that he was human today, but it's natural. Shakir, over the years, has developed fighter maturity, which is good to see. And he separates noise from task. Shakir said, look, man, I'm successful. I'm famous. I'm making big money. Shakir's not out here worried about anybody. He's just worried about himself, and he's worried about winning. That's it. He's separating noise from the task. And Teo wants for Shakir to separate the task and focus on the noise. That's easier said than done, but I can understand people saying, okay, what do we see today? Because people are trying to understand the psychology behind Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. I don't need to beat you on Twitter or on social media. It's Shakir's mentality. That's the mentality a lot of people have, because social media is what it is. And I do feel he's like, yo, social media is one thing, the ring is another. And my work speaks for itself, and everybody's going to see. So this is the old school fighter mentality. That's that kind of Floyd Mayweather mentality, the Andre Ward mentality, the Bernard Hopkins mentality, the Terrence Crawford mentality. That you'll see. Hey, all right, keep on talking. You'll see. That's that Jamal Charlo. Keep running your mouth. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people have that mentality, and they don't get caught up with all the BS. Even though other people want to bring you into their world because they thrive on chaos. When you don't give them that, they eventually have to shut up. Now, as far as the boxing fans who feel like, hey, hood champion, you're wrong. Shakur Stevenson's losing mind games. I think there's something called casual fan logic. They think if you're loud, that means confident. If you cuss, you're disrespectful, you say horrible things, that all of a sudden now that you're right. That just makes you loud and make you an idiot. But if you're quiet, they want to say you're scared. If you come now and you don't respond to drama, people tend to make an assumption that you being calm, ignoring the bullshit, that you're weak. And they think that if you remain respectful to yourself, they see that as softness. And it's okay, because we're talking about casual fans and people who probably wake up in the morning, don't floss and brush their teeth or wash their ass and get on the internet and look for drama. And I think Shakur Stevenson realizes that. He don't have time to worry about what nobody's doing and nobody's saying. He got to focus on himself. But the boxing reality, okay? Loud fighters usually hide their nerves. Loud people can't control themselves because they're nervous, they're uneasy, and there's something they want they can't get. And then when it comes to the calm fighters, they're usually very good at controlling themselves. And respect. The boxing reality is respect fighters usually trust their skills. And a guy like Shakur has a lot of respect for himself, and he trusts his skills, but he has a lot of respect for Teo and the skills that Teo brings to the ring. But fans are going to sit there and confuse entertainment with psychology, trash talk with toughness, and ego with confidence. And hey, it's their right, but doesn't mean that they're correct. It's just, to me, they're all confused with the bullshit. So they're going to say Teo's in his head, Shakir's emotional, Teo's winning the build-up. And these were some of the same people who were just sitting here talking about Shakir's going to win. They're rooting for Shakur. And now all of a sudden they see this little clip, and now they're like, Shakir's going to lose. You see what I'm saying? That's why Shakur is not worried about anything on social media. All he knows is when they get in that ring, we're going to see who's the better man. And the better man's going to win. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Shakir's been doing this for a long time, so has Teo. Teo's not changing. Shakir's not changing. Shakir's style's not going to change. Teo's style won't change. The game plans may be a little bit different because these two are special fighters. So you can't just come with a good game plan for a special fighter. You need to have a special game plan. So I think Shakur and his team have a special game plan. I think Teofimo and his team have a special game plan. But don't think they're going to come out here and just try to reinvent who they are. Nah, they may add some layers to it, but for the most part, you're going to see two guys with confidence who's able to make adjustments and going to be trying to find a way to win. So this is special fighter versus special fighter. And what that means to me is that mind games are failing. It's giving the boxing fans a little entertainment, but it's not having an effect on anybody. But when you listen to the boxing fans, this just tells you that modern boxing fans, I came up with WWF, Junkyard Dog, Coco Beware, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man, Hulk Hogan and shit, Randy Macho Man Savage. I came up with that. And I'm not going to say that's real wrestling, but I came up with that. But some of these people who are out here commenting, you can tell they came up with the WWE style. More entertainment, more spectacle, not as much. And I'm not saying that them guys don't get in there and put it all on the line. But them Junkyard Dog and Coco Bewares and Tito Santana and all that shit, that was a different type of excitement. But right now, just everything is about entertainment and drama, man. I think a lot of them in combat sports, even boxing, they take a look at Conor McGregor and how he was able to elevate his profile, just being caught up in chaos. And this generation is being raised on viral clips. Everything is a viral clip. It's trying to get a little piece of a video and go out there and post it and get clicks and views and build a channel off bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And that's people's rights. But that's just the generation that we're in. Most people don't want to see Shakur and Teo show respect for each other. They want some drama. And don't get me wrong, we all like entertainment. We all like a little bit of drama in moderation, but not. Some of us can't take it every day. The chaos, arguments, slugfest, knockouts, trash talk, disrespect. Look, that's just. Some people value that. Other people value the sport, the skill, footwork, distance, timing, IQ, defense, making adjustments. So when they see Shakur Stevenson, some people are going to come out here and say, yo, we get bored, we get suspicious, and they get frustrated and they attack him. But that's not fair because it doesn't matter what you think about Shakur. To me, he should have shut everybody up when he fought William Zepeda. To me, he should have shut everybody up. I don't know what else fans want him to do in that fight. That fight was very impressive. But again, it goes to let you know that fans reward drama over discipline. You know what I'm saying? They mistake rage for readiness. Fans don't care about boxing. Most of these people out here who watch boxing, you know who the diehards are, but you can tell the others, they ain't into the boxing, they're into the drama. And I think fans sit back and try to study personality. So the real boxing fans, I'll tell you what, they're not worried about any of the crap. They know what Teo's bringing to the ring. They know what Shakur's bringing to the ring. We know that those guys are a problem. Shakur, I haven't seen him fight emotionally. I'm trying to think, have I ever seen him try to fight emotionally? I don't think I've seen that. Whenever I watch Shakur Stevenson fight, he doesn't abandon his style. He doesn't get reckless. He just sticks to keeping the fight simple to where he can control it. Jab, angles, defense, just overall control. That's Shakur Stevenson. Real boxing fans know that Shakur is not going to come now. After all the great things he's accomplished as a professional fighter, and try to stand in front of Teo to prove who has the bigger balls. He's not doing that. He's not going to come and trade unless he has to hold his ground and get some respect like Terrence Crawford did against Canelo and then roll out. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to stay there longer than he has to. Keep turning him, bing, 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 turn, bing, 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 clinch, referee break, reset. And that's what I can see Shakur Stevenson doing. He ain't going to get caught up in the ego fight. If he does, he may win it, but then he may not because that's what Teo wants. So he can't afford to come in there and brawl because at the end of the day, it all benefits Teofimo Lopez. and that shortens the fight. That creates chaos, and that introduces huge risk, man. So I do believe from listening to Shakur in the interviews, listening to his grandfather, Shakur's mindset is, why would I fight your fight? You know what I mean? I'm moving up to 140. This is my fourth weight division. Teo's an amazing fighter. Why would I go in here and fight his fight? Why play his game? Why gamble? Just for what? To make to appease fans? He's not gonna do it. So I think when you look at it for Teofimo Lopez, he knows what he has to do. He's got to rattle. You got to get on this Elvis Presley, shake, rattle, and roll. I think Elvis sung that song. He got to shake, rattle, and roll Shakur Stevenson. Pull Shakur into pride with the trash talk. Get him angry. Try to get him slugging. Try to get into an ego contest. These are things you don't see Shakur do. If Teo is successful as that, the fight's going to be interesting. I don't know if he can do it because I tell you what, he's going to try. And I don't think Teo is done with his antics. I think he's going to continue to try to press Shakur's buttons. I wouldn't be surprised if he said something really below the belt about Shakur's family, about his child. You know, these people will say anything to try to get a viral moment, to try to get subscriptions, and for Teofimo to try to get under Shakur's skin. And I just think Shakur's got to be prepared for anything Teo does and says. And he should respond, but in a professional manner. Don't get caught up in the bullshit, because you can tell. I'm not an arguer. And you can tell the people who aren't arguers. You know what I'm saying? Some people are just 0 to 100. And Shakur seems to be a guy who's 0 to 100. He's made mistakes in the past. Shakur doesn't want to make any more mistakes. When you are very successful in life, you tend to think about how you respond, how you act, and you really think about your decisions. And I think that's what Shakur is doing. And I think Teo is too, because Teo knows he can't outbox Shakur. He can't out-jab him. He can't out-angle him. He can't out-defend him. You know, so there's a lot of things he just can't do. It's a very, very high-risk fight for Teo. But if he can create an emotional fight and turn it into a war, and turn it into chaos, and turn it into a power contest, then that's his only path, you know? Because outboxing Shakur, I don't see it. A knockout is probably what Teo's going to need. Vicious exchanges where his power can show up. And he's going to need a guy like Shakur to make mistakes. So I think the trash talk is tactical, psychological. It's not random. Teo doesn't mean any of that. He's just trying to get under Shakur's skin. And I think the way Shakur is responding, I think it's perfect. You know, it's minimal, it's direct, he's calm, he's businesslike. But today you did see that it annoyed him a little bit, the comment that Teo made. And you can understand anybody being a little agitated at that. But I just hope there's nobody out there who's a Shakur Stevenson fan who sees Teo and, you know, decides they want to throw something at him or run up on him, you know, because some fans are crazy. So you got to be careful. But as long as Shakur Stevenson remains professional and businesslike, he's going to starve Teo of that negative energy that Teo wants. He's going to show emotional control, he's going to project confidence, and maintain discipline. And now you're going to see that silence from Shakur Stevenson is power, control, and dominance. And that trash talk that Teo wants to feed his ego, he's not going to get it. And Teo's going to sit there and say to himself, what the hell? I can't get to this guy. Because silence feeds preparation. You got to remain silent, think things through, and don't be so knee-jerkish. And when I watch Shakur Stevenson, that's exactly what I'm seeing, a guy who's staying focused and being locked in. However, he's human. What if he tries to prove a point? If Shakur tries to prove a point, like to me, this is the nightmare scenario. Because it's really a 50-50 fight. I don't care what nobody says. If he tries to stand and trade, tries to prove his toughness, and he abandons angles and forgets about his distance, that's dangerous because Teofimo Lopez, like he got some kangaroo in him. The way he can explode and jump and leap with wild shots and land them and hurt his opponents. So Shakur can't give up those things. Teo's strong. Teo's fast. Teo, he hits harder than Shakur Stevenson, but this is what fans want. They want the drama. They want the blood. They want the violence. And Teo just wants to somehow create that in their world so he can have more opportunities. He can have that chaos, which he feels could run Shakur Stevenson into mistakes. But I'm going to tell you right now, y'all can boo Shakur Stevenson all you want. To me, Shakur Stevenson must stay boring. Just get in the ring, put on a mundane performance, let them boo you, just get the victory. Stay patient, stay technical, stay disciplined. Because boring equals winning. Wild equals losing. And that's really important going into this fight now. As far as historical comparisons, look, I don't know if people watch Ali against Foreman. Like, these dynamics I'm going to mention, they're classic, right? Foreman had a lot of power, but Ali had the IQ. Many people feel Shakur has the IQ, Teo has the power. Shakur has to stick to doing what's made him great and not get caught up with Teofimo Lopez drama and allowing him to use his power advantage to land something that could possibly, hurt him, possibly knock him out. Then you got Mayweather and Maidana, another one of those fights. People still talk about fight 1 and 2, but really fight 1. It was a small ring. See, people don't know this. That first fight was in a small ring. That second fight was in a larger ring. So people don't know that. That's why that first fight went the way it did. Floyd couldn't escape. That's why the second fight, he's like, I need a larger ring. And that's why the second fight went the way it did. But you saw with Maidana, he brought chaos. Floyd brought control. Then Canelo versus Trout. Trout brought a whole lot of movement. Canelo brought pressure. But you saw Trout had a lot of success, but then he messed around and got caught by Canelo's power. Something Shakur Stevenson can't afford to do. And what I will say is every time the calmer fighter wins, the louder fighter will chase, and the emotional fighter will start reaching and overcommitting. So what this fight really is, it is what it is, man. Emotion versus discipline. That's really what it is. Emotion versus discipline, chaos versus control, ego versus IQ, and power versus placement. Not a trash talk contest. Instagram, Twitter, that's not where the fight is won. That's where you go to see the bullshit, see the drama. And I think with Shakur, Stevenson, his mind is I don't need the approval from anybody. I need a victory. In Teo's mind, he's like, look, I need to dominate this guy. To let him know he ain't all that, I need to intimidate him and let him know he doesn't belong at 140 pounds. That's what it seems that he's trying to do. So we'll see if he can get it done. Hold on one second. Okay. We'll see if he can get it done because I think it shows that Shakur respects the sport. He respects his craft, respects legacy, he respects preparation. And that's champion behavior, man. Not influence behavior and social media nonsense. But I do think the narrative is dangerous, man. Because if fans believe that Shakur is losing mind games, they're gonna expect him to brawl, pressure him to prove his toughness, boo him for boxing. The crowd is going to be vicious. Because what we know is Teo's aggressive, Shakur's not. And he can't allow the crowd to influence the way he performs. He can't worry about the media pressure. And he can't get caught up in the emotional temptation of trying to prove he can knock him out. Matter of fact, when you look at Teo's record and Shakur's record, they're pretty damn close as far as their dimensions, amount of fights and knockouts. Like they're pretty close, man. But I just think Shakur's got to ignore everybody, stay himself, stay patient, and stay smart. But the psychological truth, man, Teofimo's words, they're just noise. You know what I'm saying? They're just tactics. They're just trying to create a distraction for Shakur. And as long as Shakur remains silent, he's focused, has that confidence, he has that preparation, I think he'll do fine. But the fighter who wins doesn't talk more, they think more. And right now, we got to wait and see on fight night who's able to do that. So Shakur is not losing mind games like people think. He's rejecting them. And he's human for showing that he's being annoyed. Fans mistake his silence for weakness, and they often do when it comes to people. And real fans recognize discipline. Teo wants to brawl, make it ugly. Shakur wants to put on a boxing clinic and humiliate Teofimo Lopez. And again, I think the fighter who controls distance, pace, emotions, I think they control the fight. So for anybody saying Shakur Stevenson's mad, he's not mad. He's just locked in. Y'all keep cool. About to go drink some tea in the breeze.